चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मानव अंतरकौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो। श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपला श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय। Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dhan ki jai, Swami the Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glories to the Excellency, all glories to the Excellency. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dhanavad Pranam Maharaj, we are very happy to receive you on our platform today.
Hare Krishna.
Hey Maharaj. So Maharaj, please you can start. More devotee will come as we start. It's okay.
Okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Come on, sit down.
I got the pillow.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What's our scheduled time? Till when do we go?
Maharaj, normally it's 1 hour from 9 to 10. Here in Nigeria, it's 9 o'clock now. So it's 1 hour time. But if devotees have more questions, if you have time, Maharaj, you can attend to them if you have more time.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yes, Maharaj.
This is Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5:35. Yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam jnanam yattad athinam hi bhakti yoga samanvitam. Yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam jnanam yattad athinam hi bhakti yoga samanvitam. Yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam jnanam yattad athinam hi bhakti yoga samanvitam. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called bhakti yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Purport. The general and popular notion is that by discharging fruitive work in terms of the direction of the scriptures, one becomes perfectly able to acquire transcendental knowledge for spiritual realization. Bhakti yoga is considered by some to be another form of karma. But factually, bhakti yoga is above both karma and gyan. Bhakti yoga is independent of gyan or karma. On the other hand, jnana and karma are dependent on bhakti yoga. This kriya yoga or karma yoga, as recommended by Sri Narad to Vyas, is specifically recommended because the principle is to satisfy the Lord. The Lord does not want his sons, the living beings, to suffer the threefold miseries of life. He desires that all of them come to him and live with him. But going back to Godhead means that one must purify himself from material infections. When work is performed, therefore, to satisfy the Lord, the performer becomes gradually purified from the material affection. This purification means attainment of spiritual knowledge. Therefore, knowledge is dependent on karma, or work, done on behalf of the Lord. Other knowledge, being devoid of bhakti yoga, or satisfaction of the Lord, cannot lead one back to the kingdom of God, which means that it cannot even offer salvation, as already explained in connection with the stanza beginning, Naiskarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam. The conclusion is that a devotee engaged in the unalloyed service of the Lord, specifically in hearing and chanting of his transcendental glories, becomes simultaneously spiritually enlightened by the divine grace, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parishana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yadatra Kriyate Karma, Bhagavat Paritoshanam, Jnanam Yattad Adhinam Cha, Bhakti Yoga Samanvita. This is a wonderful explanation of the full scope of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is, at the end, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes hearing and chanting. But this doesn't mean that Bhakti Yoga only consists of sitting and doing bhajan. Rather, all the activities performed for the mission of the Lord are included within Bhakti Yoga. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavratam anakulyena krishnanashilanam bhaktir uttama. The Bhakti Yoga is defined anya abhilashita shunyam, giving up all other business. Other business means for our own satisfaction, whether it be by karma or fruitive activities for sense gratification, or gyan, mental speculation with the aim of personal salvation by merging into the existence of the Lord. This is all rejected. And what is accepted? Anukulyena, Krishnanashilanam, that which will contribute to the cultivation of the satisfaction of the Lord. Anukulyena Krishnanushilam. That which is favorable for the service of the Lord. This is transcendental devotional service. Let's do one thing. That's better, isn't it? I think so. So, yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam. Toshana means satisfaction. Paritoshanam, the all-around satisfaction of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Krishnanushilanam, Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, and Bhagavat Paritoshanam, the same thing. Activities to satisfy Krishna, the gopis. They dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. All the Brajbasis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, the cowherd boys, everything completely dedicated just to satisfy Krishna. That was their only objective. Krishna should be satisfied. You know the story of Krishna having a headache. The Prabhupada tells that one time Krishna had a headache and he met Nard Muni and informed Nard that this is going on. And the only thing that will cure the headache is the dust from an advanced devotee or self-realized soul. So Nard thought this won't be a problem. We'll collect some dust and solve Krishna's headache. But as Nard went to various sages and informed them that Krishna has a headache, then, that's unfortunate, what to do? No, just if you give the dust from your feet to put on Krishna's head, then that will solve the problem. But they all said that, no, this is a great offense. If dust from my feet goes on Krishna's head, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then I'll go to hell. Such an offense. So no one was willing. So finally, Nard came to Vrindavan. There the gopis were there. They saw Nard. They thought Nard must have some news of Krishna. What's the news? Oh, Krishna has a headache. Oh, what to do? What to do? No, if you would give the dust from your feet and to be placed on Krishna's head, then his headache can be cured. So they at once began scraping the dust from their feet. Take. Then Nard said, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If the dust from your feet is placed on his head, you'll go to hell. Let us go to hell. But let Krishna's headache be cured. That's all. So Bhagavat Paritoshanam. Our interest is less important. If Krishna's interest is served, then our interest is served. This is pure consciousness. In material consciousness, we're all thinking, how can my interest be served? How can my purposes be served? How can I be satisfied? But because I'm thinking that I'm the central point of self-interest is to see to my own needs first. But the pure devotee knows that I have to have Krishna's interests first. I'm Krishna's servant. I'm Krishna's servant. And therefore, if I serve Krishna, my needs will already be all be taken care of. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is called Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, serving Srimad Bhagavatam. While hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we should place Bhagavatam at the center of our interest. We should avoid other distractions, cell phones, and other such things, and just try to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Just that, if we just put aside our cell phones for an hour and try to hear with concentration Srimad Bhagavatam, that will help us. So, how to satisfy Krishna? This is the business of the devotee. Bhagavat Paritoshan. So, how to satisfy Krishna? When the spiritual master is satisfied, then Krishna is satisfied. Yasya prasadad Bhagavat prasad. The one meaning of prasad is mercy, but prasad implies that when the spiritual master is satisfied, when the spiritual master is satisfied, then Krishna is satisfied. To satisfy Krishna may be difficult business, but if we can satisfy the representative of Krishna, then Krishna becomes also automatically satisfied. This is Bhagavat Paritoshanam. Bhagavat Paritoshanam means Bhagavat Paritoshanam. We can satisfy Krishna by satisfying Krishna's devotee. This is the recommended process. Therefore, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, to regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam and render service to the pure devotee of the Lord. That will help us. So, yadatra kriyate karma. In the Bhagavad Gita, it said that nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tistatya karmakrit. One can't even go one moment without being engaged in some kind of activity. We're always doing something. Either we're eating, or we're talking, or we're computing, or we're texting, or we're doing some job. No one can be inactive, not even for a moment. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatutis tatya karmakrit. But the materialists are busy for their own interests. And therefore, they're entangled by the reactions. What is that in Bhagavad Gita? That Pale sakto nibhadyate. The meaning will be that the yukta karma palam jaktva shantim apnoti naishtakim. Ayukta kamakarena pale sakto nipadyate. Yukta, those who are Krishna conscious. Karma palas tyaktva. They detach, they're not attached to the results of their activities. They don't act for the sake of getting something for themselves. They act for the sake of Krishna. Shantim apnoti naishtakim, and therefore they're always peaceful. But ayukta, those who are not Krishna conscious, kamakarena, they're simply acting to try to satisfy their own desires. And the result is, pale sakto nibhadyate, they become entangled in the results of their material activities. Yukta karma palam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtakim. Ayukta kama karena pale sakto nibhadyate. But the activities performed to satisfy Krishna are different. They're different. They're even different from just performing activities and giving the result to Krishna. That's also very good. That's also devotional service. But still better is the position of the devotee who's always thinking how to satisfy Krishna, how to satisfy Krishna. One devotee is thinking about his own interests, but he knows that I can't be happy acting independently. I have to connect this with Krishna somehow. So he does that, and he makes progress. But better is the devotee who is not thinking of his personal interest, simply how to satisfy Krishna or how to carry out the mission of Krishna. That's Prabhupada's language. Whatever work is done here in this life, atra, for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord, is called Bhakti Yoga. The Lord has some mission, some purpose. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya tradushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The Lord appears in age after age to reestablish Bhakti Yoga. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartameka Purusha Purana. That same Krishna appears in the present age to establish knowledge and detachment and Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to himself. The knowledge and detachment, although important, are subservient to devotional service. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojata Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayadvaitakam. If one sincerely takes up the practice of Bhakti Yoga, then automatically he develops detachment. And automatically he develops transcendental knowledge. Just by developing detachment, one doesn't become Krishna conscious. Just by cultivating knowledge, one doesn't very easily become Krishna conscious. Gyanavan mam prapadyate, bahunam janmanamante. After many, many births, by the mercy of a devotee, one may become, the Gyani may become Krishna conscious. But if one directly takes to Krishna consciousness, Jnana is automatically there. One doesn't have to take up Bhakti Yoga and then spend many, many births cultivating knowledge. Ashu, very quickly, knowledge automatically develops. And when knowledge is there, then vairagya is also there. Vairagya means to be detached from sense gratification, to be detached from this bodily conception of life. I'm American, I'm African, I'm this, I'm that. This is all upadi, bodily designations. But the first realization is that I'm not this body. Sarvopadi vinir muktam. Sarvopadi vinir muktam tat pratena nirvam. In pure consciousness, one knows, I'm not this body. The body is a machine, the body is an external covering, body is just an external covering, clothing for the soul. So why do I care about being American, being African, being man, being woman, being young, being old, being this, being that? I'm none of these things. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'm not a Brahmin, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Shudra, I'm not a householder, I'm not a brahmachari, I'm not a vanaprastha, I'm not a sannyasi. What do you mean you're not any of these things? These are the different situations, different occupations one takes up, or the different stages one goes through in Vedic culture. No, I'm not any of these things. Gopi Bhartar Padakamalayo Dasa Dasanudas. I'm simply the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. That's my business. Gopi Bhartar Padakamalayo Dasa Dasanudas. The servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. That's my identity. Only the fools are thinking in the bodily conception of life. Only the fools are thinking that I'm this body. Yes, yatma buddhi gunape tridhatuke swati kalatradi shubhomajiti yatirtha buddhi shalile nikarichet janeshva vigyeshu sayeva gokura. Anyone who's in the bodily conception of life is compared to the cows and the asses, to the dull animals. One has to come to this understanding that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. And what is the spirit soul? The soul is not just a little particle of consciousness floating about in eternity. The soul has a connection with the Supreme Soul, with Krishna. Just as the watch hand has a connection with the watch, or as the human hand has a connection with the body. The hand on its own has no meaning. But when it's connected to the body, when it serves the whole body, then the hand has so much value. So the soul finds meaning, finds his true purpose only when engaged in the service of Krishna. That's his pure consciousness. That's his pure identity. Dasa dasa anudas. So with that pure identity, when he uses his senses for the service of the master of the senses, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana, Bhakti Ruchate, then he's engaged in Bhakti Yoga. Now I'm trying to satisfy my own senses independently. And that will never work. One will become more and more dissatisfied. But when we purify our senses and use our senses to satisfy Krishna's senses, then we come to the Bhakti Yoga platform. Yad atra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam. So Bhakti Yoga means that Krishna has a mission, the spiritual master has a mission, and Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kuriyaikya. One should aspire to make one's own mission in life the mission of the spiritual master. That is, whatever his mission is, let that be my mission. Why should I have any other purpose? Arna Kuriya Maniyasha. Why should I have any other aspiration? What will be the use of that? What will be the use of that? But let me dedicate myself, heart and soul, to the mission of the spiritual master. There are those who think that the devotees who do this are engaged in ordinary karma. Prabhupada wrote that in a prefatory note to his original, one volume of his original Srimad Bhagavatam. He said they see that we're moving in the paper markets, that we're going to printers. It seems to them that we're engaged in ordinary business, in the dress of the renounced order. The businessmen are going to the paper suppliers, to the printers, to here and there for getting their work done. That's the business of the karmis. And the devotees or the transcendentalists, they should be in the holy places doing bhajan. That's the ordinary view. But the actual fact is that when the devotee is engaged in going to the paper merchants, going to the press, going here, going there, for Krishna's business, that's devotional service. Yadatra kriyate karma. Whatever action, whatever work is done, bhagavat paritoshanam, for the satisfaction of Krishna, is completely transcendental. It's not karma. It's not material activity. It's not even material activity dedicated to the Lord. That's also good when we take our material activities and think, let me dedicate this to the Lord. That's also good. I want to eat, so let me offer my food first to Krishna. That's very good. Then I'll eat nicely and it will be prasadam. That's very good. But still higher, the devotee is thinking, what will satisfy the Lord? What will satisfy the spiritual master? Let me do that. Why should my comfort come first? Why should my pleasure come first? Let Krishna's interests come first. Therefore, we see that devotees undergo so much trouble to distribute books of transcendental knowledge, glorifying Krishna, explaining the science of Krishna. It may not be very comfortable to go here, to go there, to travel around and undergo so much inconvenience, carrying heavy bags of books, approaching people, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. Too busy, sorry. That's not what one looks for for a happy day. But by distributing books, the devotee knows, I'll please Krishna. It's not for my personal interest, it's for Krishna's interest. It's the order of my spiritual master. Let me go out and try to distribute this transcendental knowledge. That will be good for me also. And it will be good for those who receive the message. It's all around good. When Krishna's mission is satisfied, everyone benefits. If I try to benefit my own interests, I may get something. I may get some money. I may get some possessions. But when I try to satisfy Krishna's mission, everyone benefits. I benefit, you benefit, they benefit. I don't separately have to try to make myself happy. I'll automatically be happy. That's not a problem. You pour water on the root of the tree, you don't have to think, oh, how will the leaves and branches get water? They'll get water automatically. When you put food in the stomach, you don't think, how will the hand get food? How will the leg get food? They're included. So when the stomach is satisfied, the whole body is satisfied. So when Krishna is satisfied, we all become satisfied automatically. Bhagavat paritoshanam. Toshana means satisfaction. When Krishna is satisfied, we'll also be satisfied, naturally. And if Krishna is not satisfied, yasya prasada nagatir katopi. If the spiritual master is dissatisfied, then Krishna is dissatisfied, then we'll also not be satisfied. I may think, let me do this I've done this for my spiritual master, now let me do this for my own satisfaction. When we do something, when we take up that course, we become dissatisfied. Then we're nowhere. Yasya prasada nagatir kutopi. So this missionary work, let me carry out the mission of Krishna. Let me carry out the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me carry out the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Let me carry out the mission of my spiritual master. That missionary spirit will be very pleasing to Krishna. Then the activities we perform are not karma. There are those who think, no, hearing and chanting Bhagavad Gita, that's real bhakti yoga. And distributing books, doing the accounts, building temples, collecting money, that's karma. That's karma. But here we find that no, when yat atra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam, when we act to perform, to satisfy Krishna, doesn't matter what it may be. It may be printing, it may be painting, it may be building, it may be collecting, it may be accounting, it may be this, it may be that. But when it's done, it may be cleaning. A person who's cleaning is a low-class worker. But when we clean Krishna's temple to satisfy Krishna, that's not karma. That's not just ordinary work. That's the highest standard of transcendental engagement, bhakti yoga. So this missionary activities, they're all missionary activities when everything that contributes to the mission. but especially when we directly try to distribute transcendental literature, transcendental sound. That's Bhakti Yoga. Bhagavat Paritoshanam. And then Jnanam Yatad Adhinam Hi Bhakti Yoga Samanvitam. Then everything else automatically follows. Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayadvaita. Success in Gyan depends upon bhakti. Success in yoga depends upon bhakti. Success in karma depends upon bhakti. Any kind of success, for any success, there must be some element of bhakti. Because these other things depend for their completion upon bhakti. But bhakti doesn't depend on Gyan. Bhakti doesn't depend on karma. Bhakti doesn't depend on yogic exercises or yogic perfections. Bhakti yoga doesn't depend on anything. It's independent. It's independent. So that Jnanam Yatad Adhinam Hi. So this Gyan, it doesn't mean that, oh, reading books, that's just Gyan. No, just as acting for Krishna is not ordinary karma. So reading about Krishna or hearing about Krishna is not ordinary Gyan. It's not that because the books are in Sanskrit and they're books, so when I'm reading, then I'm just a Gyani. The reading and hearing and studying, that's also bhakti. Because the aim is to satisfy the Lord. But karma and jnana devoid of Krishna's satisfaction is a waste of time. Nice karma apyachuta bhakta bhakti varjitam. Then anashobhate jnanam alam niranjanam. Kutash punah shashvad abhadram ishare. Nacharpitam karma yadapyakaranam. Even jnana, freed from material entanglement, doesn't look very good in the shobhanam. If it's achuta bhava varjita. Yes. If it's devoid of love for Krishna. If it's devoid of understanding of Krishna. Then even Gyan, what is the use of it? One may have an MA, PhD, or one may have read so many books for spiritual realization. One may know so many things about this and that. But notpada yadiratim, notpada yadiratim, shameva ikevala. Whatever one does, dharma svanustita pumsam, vishvakshena katasuya, notpada yadiratim, shameva ikevala. Whatever I may do, if it doesn't bring me to the point of being attracted to Krishna, it's all a waste of time. And one who's attracted to Krishna will be attracted to hearing about Krishna, Krishna Katha, Vasudeva Katha. The Vasudeva Katha, Krishna Kathas, for the devotees, is very, very relishable. Vayam tu na vitripyama Uttama shloka vikrame. Yachrinvatam rasagyanam. Swadu swadu pade pade. Devotees relish talking about Krishna, hearing about Krishna, just as the materialists enjoy or try to enjoy by talking about sports, talking about politics. And they're puna puna charvatana. Puna puna charvata. Just chewing the chewed again and again. But the devotees relish hearing about Krishna. So therefore, at the end of the purport, this point is there. That don't think that ordinary activities or what appear to be ordinary activities are ordinary when they're performed for Krishna's pleasure. Anything done for the satisfaction of Krishna is always transcendental. But one should also not think that simply working for Krishna, that's everything. And I don't need to chant, I don't need to hear the Bhagavatam. That also is so important. That also is so important. What is that Prabhupada says at the end? The conclusion is that a devotee engaged in the unalloyed service of the Lord, specifically in hearing and chanting of his transcendental glories, becomes simultaneously spiritually enlightened by the divine grace as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupiyanti te sham satadavyukdanam patadam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupiyanti te. When we seriously and sincerely try to satisfy Krishna and satisfy the spiritual master, then Krishna from within will help us. Yes, carry on, do this, do this. And that becomes our perfection. And hearing and chanting. Chanting doesn't mean only kartals, mridanga. This preaching and book distribution is the big mridanga. The mridanga party will be heard for some distance, but the big mridanga will be heard all over the world. So hearing is very important. Without hearing, where will we get the inspiration to chant or to preach? So hearing, then chanting 16 rounds with attention, chanting in kirtan, and then still more broadly distributing this message to satisfy the Lord by spreading the Sankirtan movement. The result will be Bhagavat Paritoshanam. Krishna will be satisfied, and when Krishna is satisfied, the whole world will be satisfied. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Are there some questions?
Yes, please indicate by raising your hand if you want to ask Maharaj question, please. Okay, it's Grace Tribhuvan Prabhu want to ask you a question, Maharaj.
Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I want to first of all acknowledge this very wonderful inspiration you've given to us. It really warms the heart. Maharaj, to offer, here comes a question, Maharaj.
A little louder, please.
To work and offer to Krishna.
A little louder, please.
I said to work. Yeah. Okay, Maharaj, I said to work and offer to Krishna, it requires knowledge. And you mentioned along your talk that devotional service, it encompasses karma, gyan, etc. So I want to make a kind of a comparison. For instance, if a devotee distributes books and he gets some Lakshmi and he's not remitting the Lakshmi. So how do we balance,
And he's not doing what?
works? It's not remitting the Lakshmi. And how do we balance a non-devotee work for his pleasure and a devotee, a devotee whose activities also encompass knowledge, which is part of the process of the process of spiritual life. How do we balance these? I don't know if Maharaj get the point.
No, I didn't.
Okay, let me reverse it again. Just like you mentioned that devotional service, it encompasses knowledge, etc. So
Yes. Devotional service encompasses knowledge, everything. Yes.
yes. So the question is on this path to work and offer the result to Krishna. It requires knowledge.
Yes.
So, and we also say some non-devotee works. The result is being used for their own personal
You're breaking
aggrandizement
up a
and
little bit.
personal satisfaction because I have worked.
You broke up
Pardon?
a little bit at the beginning of that. Tell me again.
Okay, I said we also have the experience that a non-devotee works just to satisfy himself.
Yes.
So I'm making a comparison. Since devotional service encompasses all, what another devotee do and what a devotee do. So if a devotee distribute books and the knowledge is to give the result to Krishna, but the result is not being given to Krishna. So
The
what is the
result is not in giving to Krishna? What do you mean?
What I mean is that you distribute books and you get some Lakshmi, and the Lakshmi is not being remit.
The Lakshmi is not what?
Service of Krishna or for this, it's not being remit for the
Not being
not being given to the temple authority or not being given to those in charge of the book, circulation. So how do we balance this?
How did he get the book without paying for it?
Yeah, they are different. Yeah, Maharaj, I asked a question, Maharaj is asking a question. So how do I get the point correct, Maharaj?
If he's distributing books, somehow he must have paid for those books. So then money is going for the publishing.
No, excuse me, Maharaj, like in a situation in Nigeria,
Okay.
where the book is being given to us by donation, and so we give to devotee to distribute outside without giving any money. And what he's saying is that, what about if the devotee perform this activity of giving the books, but taking the money for himself? The activity itself of distributing the books is for the pleasure of Krishna, but not giving the results to who the results supposed to be given to, maybe to the temple authority or whatever. So how can we understand this? Doing activity to please Krishna and enjoying the results personally. I don't know, maybe that is his question. I'm just trying to.
That means it's mixed. There's some mixed intention. Of course, some percentage, Prabhupada also said, the householders can distribute books and some percentage they keep. After all, there's some expense involved and they could be working. So, and they need to maintain their establishment. So some percentage, if that's fixed up, that yes, you keep 10%, you keep 20%, whatever it may be, that's your working expense, then nothing wrong with that. But if it's simply that I take the books as without payment, and that may not be so good. Then the distribution becomes, if I'm getting them free, I'm not giving them free. If I'm simply interested in distributing the books, I got them free, I can give them free. But no, I'm collecting, but that collection is for me. So that's not so good. That's not so good. The householders should try to act in such a way that they can maintain themselves by their prescribed duties. That means keeping their expenses as low as possible, nothing unnecessary, and then having some honest occupation. Then distribute books, or if your occupation is to distribute books, that's all right. But then you keep something for your own necessities, and you give also to keep the publishing going. That will be better.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have His Grace Kusha Prabhu. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances. I have a question on today being Gita Jayanti. The first class I left this morning before coming here, they were speaking about everybody can say the reason why Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna. So somebody brought up a discussion he has with somebody, that Bhagavad Gita was spoken because of a reason of being too much attached to a woman, in the sense that Draupadi was insulted so many times that led the Pandavas to fight the war of Kurukshetra, thereby speaking Bhagavad Gita. Another person told him that means the Pandavas are too attached to a woman. So how are they being called devotees of Krishna when they are so attached and they went to war to kill millions of people? So I don't know if Maharaj can explain a bit about this issue of Gita Jayanti and the reasons of this Bhagavad Gita being spoken.
That's, of course, that was their duty. I may be very much attached to my wife, or I may not even like her. But if some insult is there to my wife, or especially how insulting the Kauravas were, then it's my duty. It's my duty. If I'm placed in charge, suppose if I'm a school teacher, they place me in charge of the students. So if anyone tries to harm a student, no, you get out of here. Why? Because I'm responsible. I have to take care. Even a dog, he's in charge of guarding the property. If anyone comes, ruff, 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 ruff. Because he has to guard the property. So husband means he's responsible. If there's any harm to the wife, he's responsible. But then it's his duty. Apart from that, it wasn't just Draupadi, but it was the welfare of the whole kingdom. There was more involved. But of course, even on the cause of Draupadi's insult, that was enough. But there were so many things. And the real purpose is that Krishna wanted it. How is Arjuna so attached to Draupadi? No, let them have the kingdom. Dayotsya Govinda. I don't want to fight. Killing my brothers, killing my guru, killing my grandfather. I don't want to fight. This is Arjuna. Not that for my sense gratification I have to fight. not because of bodily attachment, I have to fight. I'd rather not fight. On the platform of the body, Arjuna said, Nayotsya, I won't fight. It's not that because Arjuna was in the bodily concept of life, he was intent on fighting for the body, for the family, for the wife. For that, Arjuna said, I won't fight. Nayotsya. Not, I must fight because they've insulted Draupadi. They've insulted my wife. I'm going to kill them. No. Nayotsya. I won't fight. It was Krishna who wanted the fighting. For his own consideration, Arjuna preferred not to fight. But when he understood that Krishna wants it, then Kodashye Vachanam Tava, I'll do as you say. So the person who's making that comment has it backwards. He's thinking that Arjuna is just in the bodily concept of life. That's why he wants to fight. No, Arjuna's in the bodily concept of life. That's why he doesn't want to fight. And it's Krishna who's urging him. No, it's your duty. You must do it. Is that all right?
Yes, Maharaj. I have a second question, if I can ask.
Mm-hmm.
The Gita Jayanti is on a Christmas day like today. Can the Christians, or can we take it as being the Christmas celebration of the Vedas? God, the God himself appeared on this day and spoke Bhagavad Gita.
Say that again. Can we take it?
So the Bhagavad Gita was spoken today, 25th December,
Yes.
which to the Christians is a Christmas day.
Yes.
So how can we collaborate it to means is the Vedic Christmas that God came to speak this Bhagavad Gita?
Of course, this year is Christmas. Next year it won't be Christmas. Previous year it wasn't Christmas because two different calendars. So Krishna didn't speak actually on Christmas Day. This year, the day that Krishna spoke, Mokshada Ekadashi, comes on Christmas. It coincides, but not every year.
Okay.
But if someone will take a book on that basis, that today's Christmas, and it's also the day that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, yeah, then very good.
So Maharaj, we have His Grace Sahadev Prabhu wants to ask a question. Sahadev Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Thank you for coming on our platform to speak to us. My question has to do with the verse itself.
Mm-hmm.
It says, whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental love and service of the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. My understanding to this is when we render service to Krishna, then from that service comes knowledge.
Yes.
Knowledge comes automatically by rendering service to Krishna. Now, how do we render genuine service to Krishna without knowledge? That's my first question. Because
the spiritual master says, do this, do that. I may be a fool.
Okay.
But he says, do it. All right, I'll do it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't have to know anything. All I have to do is follow the instructions of the spiritual master. And
so
then,
in that, okay, sorry.
then automatically I'll get knowledge also.
Okay. There was a topic raised on this platform some time ago that one has to be in knowledge, one has to be pure before one speaks the Bhagavatam. And I remember personally, I was asking, if that is the case, then we wouldn't have lots of devotees speaking the Bhagavatam because we don't have that many pure devotees. So, but it looks like from this verse, even though we may not be qualified, but if we do that as a service, then from that, the knowledge might come.
From one, we can't give Bhagavatam, speak on Bhagavatam unless we're pure devotees and we have knowledge. From one point of view, Prabhupada said all the ISKCON devotees are pure devotees. They're all dedicated to the service of the Lord. Not that we just think, oh, this person's a pure devotee, this person's an ordinary devotee. They're all trying to please Krishna. So we can see from that point of view. And he may not have so much knowledge, however much knowledge he has, as long as he's speaking in the parampara system. He may not be a great Jnani, he may not be a great Sanskrit scholar, but if he faithfully repeats what he's heard from the spiritual master or from the books, then that will benefit everyone. And if he's a great Jnani, great scholar, but he speaks all nonsense, what is the use? Or if he's a great Jnani, great scholar, but he does all nonsense, then what's the use? But if he chants Hare Krishna regularly and 16 rounds, follows 4 regulative principles, and tries to speak honestly what he's heard from the Shastra and the spiritual master, that will be always beneficial.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I don't know with the moderator if I could ask a second question.
Please, you can go ahead. We just have to ask Maharaj how much time he has for us.
Okay. Maharaj, my question is, I know you personally try your best to make sure that the devotees stick to what Srila Prabhupada originally gave us. So I remember one time I was leading the Mangarati Kirtan, and I was with you in the temple room in Giranagri. And I must say, I don't know the exact word to use, but I was a bit frustrated because in 1 minute, you will nod to me that I was chanting right. The next minute, you would tell me, no. And we went back and forth, which I always remember that, like trying to stick to what Srila Prabhupada gave us. And so my question is, we also discussed this on this forum, that some of the worries, some of you are Srila Prabhupada's direct disciples, and some of us as second, third generations have, is how the systems set by Srila Prabhupada in the near future could be altered or changed, and what best can we do, especially now that we have some of you as Srila Prabhupada's disciples still personally, physically with us. So what is your advice as to what we can do to maintain Srila Prabhupada's standards? Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Yeah, in all departments, we want to know. First thing is to know what is the standard. Beginning is we don't even know.
Okay.
What did he teach? What did he like? What did he approve? What did he disapprove? We don't even know. Then how will we keep the standard if we don't even know the standard? So that's the first thing. We have to know. What is it? So you can try to pull that out of the devotees, Prabhupada's disciples. What did Prabhupada teach? What did he instruct you? What was his standard? You don't have to pull very hard. The devotees are all speaking about these things, writing books, giving lectures, conveying Prabhupada's instructions. So that's the first thing. What did he teach? What was the standard? That we should know. Then, how that standard is applied in this circumstance, that circumstance, how it might be adjusted appropriately. That's the next question. For that also, we have to see what Prabhupada did. We have to see the example of our own spiritual master, or the instructions of our own spiritual master, senior devotees. But the beginning is, what did Prabhupada teach? That's the central point. All of us, Prabhupada's disciples, we're all trying to follow what we learned from Srila Prabhupada, implement what we learned. So you can also find out, what is it that he taught? What is it that he instructed? What was his example? Is that all right?
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Prabhupada Limamrita is there also for that purpose, and many other books. Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, how much time do you have for us, Maharaj? We have my hand up again.
Well, yeah, you can ask some more questions. I'll stop.
Okay, Maharaj.
I have to go.
Bhuvana Prabhu is asking.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I want to thank you, and at the same time, I want to say the explanation you gave, I still have some doubts, regarding to saying that bhakti, devotional service, it encompasses all.
You have to, I'm sorry, but Prabhupada, your connection is a little not first class. So sometimes your words are breaking up. So if you speak a little slowly, and I may sometimes ask you to repeat, just because the connection is not that great. So please start again.
Okay. Yes, sure. Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
You can hear me, Maharaj, now?
Yes.
Maharaj, you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned, Maharaj, that bhakti devotional service encompasses, both karma, gyan, etc. So I didn't get
that. In
that.
comparison to karma and gyan, bhakti yoga is you have to. In comparison to karma and gyan, bhakti yoga is what?
You said devotional service covers all these aspects.
Yes,
of,
it covers
preliminary,
bhakti and karma and gyan. Yes.
Yeah. So the question is, in Bhagavad Gita, we have different sections that Krishna delineates, from karma, gyan, etc., that gradually bring one to the path of devotional service.
Yes.
So if these aspects are there, so how do we then bring this, this path up there to take people from different levels to the path of devotional service? And your explanation, holds that devotional service encompasses all these aspects that is mentioned in the Gita. So what is the reason? What is the reason if this aspect is there in Gita and devotional service in itself encompasses all this, Maharaj?
Why are the others there if devotional service encompasses them? Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're asking?
Maharaj, please kindly say that again, Maharaj. Let me hear if you get the point.
Yeah, there's so many topics covered in Bhagavad Gita, karma, gyan. So is it your question, why are they there if devotional service encompasses them?
Absolutely, Maharaj. That is the point.
Yes, their real purpose is how all of these things can be dedicated to devotional service, or how the real purpose is devotional service. Sarvadharman pratyaja mamekam sharanam vraja. And I've explained everything else, but the real point is you can put everything else aside and mamekam sharanam vraja, just take shelter of me. The real point, just like yoga, the yoga systems describe, you sit this way, you do this, you do this. There's so many yoga systems. But yoginam api sarvesham vadgaten antaratmana shradhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamam. The person who's engaged in serving me, he's the best yogi. So then you don't have to waste your time with other yoga systems. Just be engaged in my service. That's the point. Everything else should lead to that point. Then, all right, you're doing work, that's good, but do that for Krishna. You're cultivating some knowledge, do that for Krishna. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kanteya, tat purusha madarpanam. Dedicate everything to me. In the 12th chapter also, that what is that? Mayeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya niveshishyasi mayeva aturvam nasangshaya. Just engage in devotional service to me. Just be engaged in, attached to me, engaged in serving me. Then, all right, if you can't do that, then follow regular principles. Mam is chaptum, dhananjaya. Then you'll develop the desire to serve me. Oh, you can't do that? Then you can't even practice? Then mat karma paramabhava. Then you work for me. Give me the results of your work. Oh, you can't even do that? All right, then be detached. Work, but with detachment. But better is to engage directly in my devotional service. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj, jnana dhyanam vishishyate, dhyanat karma palatyagas, jagat shantiranantaram. But then, so finally the conclusion is there's so many other methods, but the highest method will be bhakti yoga. And anything disconnected from bhakti yoga, naishkarmyam apyachuta bhavavarjitam, nashopate, doesn't look very good. Even Gyan doesn't look very good, what to speak of karma. Everything should be dedicated to Krishna. That's the point. Is that all right?
Maharaj, thank you. Now this point is clear. Thank you.
We have a last question. Is Grace Kusha Prabhu. Please unmute yourself and ask Maharaj question.
Krishna, my question is not the last question. There were questions on chat room. Maharaj, my question is, I want to thank you for having more time for us. I want to ask you, being so much in charge on BBT, either in Africa or around the world, my question is, there are some books that are not being published, which are so nice, like Christ and Krishna, Joy of No Sex. We gave a class, somebody gave a class here, His Holiness Chandramuli Swami. He mentioned that when a guru initiated a disciple, the guru was highly situated, spiritually situated. When he falls down, the disciple don't have to take another diksha because he's already connected. So if it is so, why do we not sell or publish a book written by a guru when he was purely situated? Why is it bound?
The Chandramauli Maharaj said that if one is initiated by a spiritual master, even if he falls down, one doesn't have to take initiation again.
Yes, it's an option because they are rightly connected when the guru was in good situation. It's
Okay,
left for a disciple to know, to decide.
I won't speak to that point. That's a separate question. So I wouldn't speak to that today. But then your follow-up question, or it seems to be the main thing you're asking about, then why don't we distribute books written by a person who was pure when he wrote them?
When he wrote the book, yes.
Yeah. We may have several answers. One is one may lose one's taste for those things. That we know that later that person left, or deviated from the standard. So then we may lose some enthusiasm. Why do I want to distribute these books? That's one answer. Another answer is, I haven't read these books. I don't know how pure they are, when he wrote them, in what consciousness he wrote them, what they say. I haven't read them, so I can't say anything about that. The next thing is that who's publishing these books? Our main mission is to publish the books, distribute the books published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. That's our bread and butter. Some other book we may sometimes read, we may sometimes give to people. But our main business is distributing these books published by the BBT. That should be our emphasis. Other books are all right. Other books may sometimes be very good. But our bread and butter is the books published by the BBT, especially Srila Prabhupada's books. That's our main focus. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Other books may be all right, but Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam, these books are exceedingly important. So
Maharaj, we have some question in the chat room. Do you want to read it, or you want me to read it, Maharaj?
I see them. Sometimes we convince ourselves that what we're doing is for Krishna, working, earning money for Krishna. But in the process of earning money, we develop undesirable qualities like greed, lust, pride, etc. Then is that really for Krishna? How do we identify if what we're doing is for Krishna, or is it a trick from Maya? We have to see what is our duty. Just like a householder, he has to earn some money. Brahmachari doesn't have to earn money for supporting himself. But a family man has to earn money to support the family. So if he thinks, no, this is just material entanglement, that's not right. No, I have some responsibility. I have to do that. So then, while doing that, I'm developing lust, greed, pride. No, that I shouldn't do. I have to get rid of the lust. I have to get rid of the greed. I have to get rid of the pride. But that doesn't mean I have to get rid of the duty. Even in Brahmachari, he's doing some work. He's doing some accounting. He's doing some practical thing. He's building a temple. So they say, oh, while doing this, I'm developing undesirable qualities. I'm becoming duplicitous. I'm becoming businesslike. I'm becoming proud because I did something very well. I'm becoming greedy. I'm becoming lusty, whatever. So it doesn't mean now I give up the duty. Even while chanting Hare Krishna, one is leading the kirtan, he becomes proud. My kirtan is so nice. But it doesn't mean now because I'm proud, now I should stop chanting. Give up the lust, give up the greed, give up the pride, but don't give up prescribed duties. That's not wanted. So how should we know if it's Maya's trick, Krishna's, or Krishna's business? So for that, we have to consult the spiritual master, the senior devotees, the books. What if activities like printing, accounting, etc., even if done for Krishna, seem to divert from direct remembrance possible by hearing and chanting? These activities might also involve dealing with Maya sometimes. We just dealt with that essentially. It came the same in answering the first question. I think we answered the second. We have to give up the other things, the lust, the pride, the greed, the forgetfulness of Krishna. But that doesn't mean we give up the duties and just go off somewhere to hear and chant. Oh, this is all material activity. No. For distributing books, we have to print, we have to drive, we have to do this, we have to do that. If we say, oh, this is all material activities, I want to hear and chant. No, that's by sense gratification. But rather, while doing all these things, I should practice remembering Krishna. What is Mama Nusmara Yujyacha? Think of me and fight, Krishna told Arjuna. So carry on with the duties, but always remember Krishna. Is that all right?
Mara, we have Upala Prabhu. Upala Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I already sent it to the.
Utpal.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Why?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances to Prabhupada.
Your connection is terrible.
So the question is that why is the impact of BBT Africa not felt much in West Africa, and what future plan does BBT Africa for ISKCON West Africa? He wrote it privately to me. That is a question, Mara.
Tell me again.
Okay, Mara. He said, why is the impact of BBT Africa not felt much in West Africa, and what is the future plans for does BBT Africa for ISKCON West Africa?
Why is the impact of BBT Africa not felt so much in West Africa, and what are our future plans? One thing I should say, by the way, is that I'm not, I've retired from BBT responsibilities. Now it's Govardhan Prabhu who's in charge for BBT Africa, and assisting him, Mukundangri is managing. I'm just advising from the background. The impact of BBT Africa will be, for that it's up to you. Your leaders have to pick up the mission, encourage the distribution, manage it nicely. Then the impact will be felt more. If we just keep the books in the warehouse, or if we don't even have the books, then how will the impact be felt? But when we take it as our prime business that we have to distribute this message, then the impact will be felt. Apart from that, I know that Mukundangri Prabhu wanted to visit West Africa. That was a high priority for him, so that he would be more in touch with the devotees there, so that he'd be familiar with the circumstances there, and BBT could do more in West Africa. but some virus got in the way. And so that plan is on hold for now. But when the virus pandemic is over, then that's again his program to come to West Africa and get more involved for pushing BBT activities.
Yeah, Krishna Prabhu, you were raising your hand, please.
Krishna Maharaj, I think the question of Opala Prabhu has to do with the desire of West African devotees to have BBT Africa established in West Africa.
It's established. What do you mean?
I think that is what he wants to ask. They need a branch so that they can feel they are part of BBT Africa. Visiting, a devotee visiting and no books printed in West Africa, they don't really feel they are part of BBT Africa.
Well,
I think there should be a branch of BBT Africa. That's what you want to ask.
The branch, you're the branch. Just like in Mauritius, BBT Africa has no branch, but the devotees there are very serious in distributing books. So they're distributing so many, although sometimes Mauritius is on top, sometimes South Africa is on top. So our office is in South Africa, but sometimes Mauritius is distributing more books. We don't have a branch there, but on their own. In Kenya also, sometimes they're ahead. We have no branch, but the devotees are the branch.
Yes.
Similarly, in America, our office, we only have one office, Los Angeles. But then in Silicon Valley, in New York, in so many cities all over America, devotees are distributing books. So they're the branch. It's not that we have to set up a branch in Silicon Valley. We have to set up a branch in Dallas. We have to set up a branch in New York. The devotees are the branch. You're the branch. Now, to be connected more with the branches, that's why Mukundangri wanted to go to West Africa. So when the virus clears up, he'll do that. And then there'll be, what can we say, better communication, better understanding, better help from BBT Africa. Meanwhile, devotees can be in touch with him. This is what we want to do. This is what we're trying to do. This is that. Whatever you might want to organize, to seminars or so many things can be done. So that's up to you. Don't wait for BBT Africa to do something, and do it. Do something. I heard a seminar. It had nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. It was from someone who started a software company. He was an entrepreneur. He'd written some software we were using. So what is your advice to entrepreneurs? That was the question. After he'd spoken for maybe an hour, then what is your advice for entrepreneurs? Then he said, my advice is do something.
Yes.
Because that was his experience. He'd started his company in a very small way. He just thought this would be a good idea. He tried something. Gradually, people picked up on it. Gradually, it grew more. Now it's a big enterprise. So then when he was asked for his advice, he said, just do something. Because when you do something, then the next thing will happen. Then the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. So the same thing is there for distributing books. Just do something. Individually, collectively, distribute a book. Distribute a few books. Then Krishna will give you intelligence. How to distribute more books. How to have a big program. How to do this program. How to do that program. How to introduce a new program. Just do something. It may be small. It may be humble. It may be small impact. But if we think, oh, it's small impact, I might as well not do anything. No, do something small, and then that small will become big. Prabhupada, in the beginning, what was his program? Small. A little storefront in a corner of New York, or just a sadhu in Vrindavan. But he was doing something. Now it's become a huge society all over the world. So the same thing, do something in every department, in book distribution and Nagar Sankirtan, in your temple programs, in your Zoom programs. Do something. Then do something more, do something more. You're in your own personal life, do something. Just like someone comes, he chants 2 rounds. We say, just chant 2 rounds, chant 1 round. Now, because he's chanting 1 round, he wants to chant 5 rounds. Because he's chanting 5 rounds, he wants to chant 16 rounds. You just begin. Do something more, do something more. You'll get momentum. You'll get encouragement. Krishna will see, oh, he's trying to do something. Let me help him. What is that? The little sparrow tried to empty out the ocean. The Garuda came. All right, let me help. So in West Africa, you have tremendous potential. Nigeria, Ghana, all Ivory Coast also, all these countries, huge potential for distributing books. Huge potential. So just begin. Whatever you're doing, continue, and then do more, do more, do more. Always be taxing your, Prabhupada said, strain your brain. How can I do more? How can I do more? How can I do more? What else can I do? What else can I do? Then Krishna will give you good intelligence how to do it. And from Johannesburg, BBT will try to help as far as possible. We want to do this, we want to do that. How can we help you? That all right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
And from their side in BBT Africa, they're also thinking, well, we're doing this, we're doing that, but what can we do in West Africa? How can we do more? They're thinking how to increase. So then the 2 sides can meet, you know, you think how to increase from your side, they'll also be thinking how to help, and it will increase.
All right, thank you very much, Maharaj. We still have 1 hand up. Maharaj, you have more time for us, or are you okay with it?
Yeah, we'll spend a little more time. After all, it's a Kadasi. Why should we not?
Okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj. We appreciate that, Maharaj. So,
That's
George
good.
Omega, please submit yourself.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Let him write it down.
Please, George Omega, can you write your question? Because your network is very poor, can you write your question? Maharaj can read. George Omega?
Okay,
Yeah,
it's very,
if you're reading, let's read
it's
the
very
one.
lengthy. I mean, it's a comment. It's a very lengthy question. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it good now?
Are you reading the
That
question?
is the network good now?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. Just like I have a comment on the book Kusha Prabhu is talking about. When I joined ISKCON newly, I quite remember during Christmas marathon like this in Ghana, I used to buy the book. So whatever I'm going to work, then whatever I get to, then I used to share. So this book in particular, that is Christ and Krishna. That's one office when I went there and I gave the book out quickly. The man saw the written, I mean the author of the book and he went to
I'm having a
PTA.
real hard time with the quality here. I think
Write down your question, please.
yes, I think that would help us.
Have you mute
It's a very
him?
lengthy, so I'll not be able to write.
Mute him. Let him write it down. It's noisy.
Okay, Maharaj, I think maybe he's not in a good place to write the question. So I don't know.
I heard that. So what to do? Because it's not in a good place to write and not in a good place for reception either. So, you know, the line quality is not so good. So it's hard to hear what to do.
We really appreciate your patience with us, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Yes. So
well, I'll let you sort that out for the moment. We have a question from Giridhari Puja. What will you advise someone who feels that the kirtan he or she does isn't in the right mood or pleasing to Krishna? Carry on, go on with kirtan and try the same thing. Not that because I don't think the kirtan is very good, I should stop, or because there's some unwanted thing in my consciousness, then let me stop. No, go on with the kirtan and gradually it will improve. Go on, don't stop. Okay. Shall we stop here, or is there?
yes, Maharaj, I really appreciate your time, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. So let's all devotees.
I'm sorry also that I couldn't answer that question, the last question. It was just getting very difficult.
Yes,
All right.
It was. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. And please, let's one Hare Krishna Mama to Maharaj. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Mahaprasad. Hare Krishna.